their advantage and recover from a disappointing Africa Cup of Nations campaign when they face off for the second time in a week against the Gambians. Angola, one of two sides in this draw of 28 teams who made it to a World Cup in the past. They went to Germany in 2006, along with Togo, who are also playing in this preliminary draw for the 2022 World Cup. And we will listen now to the national anthems of each side. And a big job then for Gambia in this game as they try to get victory away from home. Well, since they qualified for the 2006 World Cup, Angola haven't really made much of an impact since then. They came within 2 points of reaching the second round in Germany 2006, having won their opening two games. Those heady days and the likes of Aqua and João Ricardo, Paulo Figueiredo and Jamba, along with younger stars like Flavio and Zé Kalanga, and indeed Matheus Galeano, who is the only man who survives from that squad in 2006 and is still involved in this squad trying to get into the group stage of African Zone qualifying for the 2022 World Cup. 35 years old now, Matheus. We're waiting for the two captains to come together. Meanwhile, though, they are taking their team photos. It's a new, vibrant and hungry Angola that come into this new qualifying campaign. A little bit wounded as well by the fact that they are no longer among the top nations on the African continent and forced the indignity of having to go through this preliminary round to get into the group stage. When this stadium is full, it's a magnificent place to watch football, and indeed athletics as well. Maybe a little surprised there aren't more to watch this game. So the two captains have come together. Omar Colley clearly won the toss and has made his selection. Quick shake hands with opposing number Matthias, the usual obligatory photos before the game. And we're all set ready for the second leg in this African zone qualifying for the World Cup to take place in Qatar in just 3 years' time. Gambia first came into the World Cup in 1982, didn't make it through qualifying. Unlike Angola, they've never made it to the last round. Pedro Gonçalves there on the Angola bench, the interim coach after the Serb coach, Šedan Vasiljević, parted ways by mutual consent only a couple of weeks ago after the end of their underwhelming Africa Cup of Nations qualifying experience. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Belgian Tom Saint-Tief, Gambia coach for just over a year in charge after being initially appointed on a 9-month contract. He wasn't too happy with the way his side played in the first leg and has made a few changes to that side for this second leg. Angola, though, unchanged from the side that won 1-0 in the first leg last Friday. 4 changes, though, for Gambia. Out go Boubacar Sané at the back, along with right back Simon Richter and Sinyan in midfield, and Musa Barrow up front. Ibrahim Colley, who made such an impact as a sub in the first leg, comes in midfield, whilst G comes in for Barrow up front, and Boyan comes in at right back at number 2, with the other midfield players going to Dauda and Ngum next to Sona. So the colours reversed. This time it is Angola playing in their usual red strip, with Gambia playing in all white this afternoon. Toure. In by Youssef N'Ji, the new man in today up front, who taking up a position on the left-hand side. Now then, starts for Freddie to come forward. He had such a good game probing and setting up play for Angola just a few days ago. Feeds it out to Geraldo, who gets a dangerous cross in straight away. Had a free kick saved in the first leg. Goes for the cross again. Not quite as good as the first one. And is picked up by Lucifer N'Ji, who's come back from the front line to help out the defensive line. Lucifer N'Ji, who plays for Boa Vista in Portugal, along with Matias Galliano, who's on the Angola side today. Well, there's Cisse. Cisse was very dangerous in the opening 10 minutes of the first leg, and the runs like that was exactly how he got under the skin of the Angola defenders. His influence tended to wane further on in the match, but in the beginning, he was very, very dangerous indeed, and indeed might have had a penalty inside the first 10 minutes in the Independence Stadium in the home leg. Freddie is the man who's gone down. Little clip at his heels. They know he's dangerous. Had a really dangerous double chance, did Freddie, towards the end of the first leg, and just got clattered by Gambia's Dauda Ngum, coming back from defensive midfield. Gambia nearly made it to the finals of the Africa Cup of Nations earlier this year in Egypt, but just came up short in the last game. However, that last game was against no less than the team that went on to win the title, Algeria. So perhaps it wasn't quite so disappointing in hindsight, knowing that Algeria were the best on the continent after the finals, where they claimed their first Africa Cup of Nations title. Of course, the Desert Foxes will be waiting for the winners of these preliminary World Cup qualifiers when the group stage starts up. Between now and then, the Africa Cup of Nations, the next qualifiers for those start up as well. And these two sides will be looking to go into that and might be up against each other. It's a fairly dangerous looking free kick, although the goalkeeper looked as though he had that in his eyesight all the way in from Geraldo. Geraldo, who plays his football in Egypt with Al Ali, appeared in all of the qualifiers for the AFCON, and he caught that fairly well. Had a free kick saved by Job in the first leg. That time he didn't quite manage to bring the Gambia shot stopper into action. Ibuture is looking forward for the throw-in. Well, he doesn't look too impressed with what happened to Fabio Abreu, does the Angolans coach Pedro Gonçalves. Abreu, who like a number of these Angola team play in Portugal, made his World Cup qualifying debut in the first leg against Gambia. Did enough to retain his place in the starting lineup today. Well, there's a party atmosphere for those that have turned up today. And of course, safe in the knowledge that they have the advantage at the moment. Fabio Abreu is helped off. I'm sure that he will be just fine. He picked up a yellow card in the first leg. Did the Boa Vista man. So the Morense man. Back underway again, and Freddie nearly got in there. Not quite sure how much the defender actually knew about that tackle in the end, but it's safe enough, and it's spread out by Job. Well, that was up the line from Ibuture, looking for Cisse, but was a little bit overhit as Fabio Abreu comes back onto the pitch then. Picked up on the far side then by Fabio Abreu. Good control. Fed back inside. Again, where Matias tries to do the 1-2. Fabio Abreu goes for goal. It's blocked, and then they want a handball. Brushed against somebody's arm. How deliberate that would have been is anybody's guess, as Yusuf N'Jie picks it up in midfield for Gambia. Tries to push his way past Show. And it's picked up now by Geraldo for Angola again. And Tom Santif there on the Gambia touchline, not happy with his side that they've conceded possession like that. Isaac Carrera, the right back into Geraldo again, but it was a little bit under hit, the pass by Freddie. Show again, trying to work his way through, but a little bit over hit the first touch at the moment from some of the Angolan players, and it's allowing the others in. This was the chance, though, Brow. Just caught the back of the leg of Mbaye. Important interception that by the Gambia centre-back. Well, Ethiopia, Equatorial Guinea, Tanzania and Liberia already made it through to the group stage a couple of days ago after their wins over Lesotho, South Sudan, Burundi and Sierra Leone respectively. Djibouti have made it through as well after seeing off Eswatini just before this game kicked off. And Djibouti will figure fairly heavily in the future of perhaps both these two sides. They have a playoff against Gambia to get into the group stage of the Africa Cup of Nations qualifying for the next one in 2021. And if they get through that, then it's the Angolans that would be waiting for them in the group stage itself. The qualifying action coming thick and fast at these African nations. Unlike in Europe, where they get the European Championship qualifying out of the way before they take on the World Cup qualifying campaign after the European Championships next summer. Long throw by Toure. Down goes Fabio Abrao again under the challenge from Omar Colley, the skipper of Gambia. There's nothing really in that as well. It's Mateus, lovely footwork and a good pass off to Freddie. Feeds it inside and now Show can bring it forward. Great play, Fabio Abrao again. There's another important block right in front of the shooter. Last-ditch defending coming in from Gambia here that's keeping them in this tie. Cannot afford to allow them to come forward again. And now Freddie is denied by Job, the goalkeeper. Pressure building here from the men in red. And by Toure, Freddie wants it. Gets it out to Geraldo, and it will be a corner kick given away by Ibu Toure, the left back. Well, Angola serious about getting into the group stage. It's been 16 years since they made their full appearance in the World Cup back in 2006. 13 years, excuse me. Get my maths sorted out. Forward by Wilson, who scored the goal that separates the two sides in the first leg. Alongside Bastos in the centre of that Angolan defence. Geraldo just couldn't quite take the ball in his stride. Well, it was an all-encompassing challenge coming in from Yusuf N'Ji. Freddie, good strength. Well, we saw this in the first leg as well. A lot of the good-looking play coming from the Angolans. Gambia are a lot more direct, and they have a chance here, do Angola. And again, it's another interception and charge down for the shot. Well, Mateus getting the shot in there, the skipper. The only survivor from the Angolan side, the only Angolan side that's ever been to a World Cup. He was just 21 years old when he joined the likes of the then skipper Aqua, plus João Ricardo, Figueiredo, Jambo, and the upcoming new star Flavio, with the defensive-minded midfielder of Zé Kalanga, who then went on to dominate Angolan lineups for years to come after that. By Omar Colley, the skipper, again for Gambia. A lot more aggressive, physical type of game being played by Tom Saintif's team, and you can see there's going to be a yellow card is going to come out here. I have to say that this one is for Lamine Diallo. Don't think he got it for the challenge, he got it for the talk back afterwards. Rather reckless yellow card to give away. Picked up by Cisse now. He's got Wilson in front of him, and others as well trying to pick up this dangerous front man. In it comes to Ng now goes on a little run. Nicely done, Ng goes for the shot, and it's charged down by Fabio Abrao, who had come all the way back from attack to help out the defence. Omar Colley now, probing ball, looking for Cisse again, but it was just behind the big front man. Omar Colley, who plays for his club football in Sampdoria, been the mainstay of the Gambian side in recent years. Former captain as well in years gone by. That's a decent ball in. A little bit too sharp, though, for Diallo to be able to pick up in the penalty box. And goes behind harmlessly enough for a Angola goal kick. Tony Cabasso had to withstand a bit of a late Gambian onslaught in the first leg. In Bakau, inside the Independence Stadium. Till that point, he didn't actually have an awful lot to do. But Gambia really upped the ante in the last part of the game. Colley feeds it off to Mbaye. Bojang, nowhere further forward to explore for him, so back it goes again to the two central defenders. Mbaye lofts it into the path of Cisse, who picks it up beautifully. Promising attack then coming from Gambia, but again, good defensive shape and form from Angola. And Angola now steal the ball again and break away with their skipper Mateus. Cuts back inside. And in the end, the final ball was lacking. Picked up by Isaac Carrera. Given away, though, by the right back. And he's out of position. However, nobody was racing into that slot down the left-hand side for Gambia to be able to take advantage of his advanced placing. Oh, Matthias with clever play there, just making sure the referee knew that Ibo Toure had made a bit of a contact with him. Show plays it forward. Defensive midfielder back into the more attack-minded Freddie. Show feeds it across to Bastos. Now Isaac Carrera down the line. This is a nice play again from the Angolan side, and Isaac Carrera continues his run down the right-hand flank. Geraldo. Freddie has the sun in his eyes on that far side, but still brings it down nicely. Good tackling again by Mbaye. Impeccable timing from the big centre-back. That's one of the changes there, number 19, Ibrahima Kuli, who was a very useful substitute in the first leg. Had an overhead kick that was saved by Kabasa with 18 minutes to go in that. And there was another time that he brought the Angolan shot stopper into action as well in that home leg. But they just couldn't quite find a way to make that pressure tell. Colley. Out to Toure. Nice ball forward by Sona, picked up by Ng. Toure again, charged down though by Isaac Carrera, his opposite number. There is Isaac Carrera, one of the domestic based players in this Angola side. Plays for the champions Primeiro Augusto, as indeed does a number of this side, including the goalkeeper Kabasa. Kabasa now a 4-time league winner with the champions. Toure trying to feed it in to Ng, who just stood on the ball. So that ended any attacking interest that Gambia had. Well, there was nobody free there, so in the end they were forced to just kick it long. Were Angola, and that's about the most agricultural we've seen them in the two legs. Usually a lot more finesse from Angola, which is something you can say from them all the way through recent history. They are a side that do like to play football on the ground. Isaac Carrera feeds it into Harry Nilsson, who was excellent in the first leg in defensive midfield. Geraldo now, who has dropped in a little bit deeper to get the ball. Matthias feeds it out wide, and it's building up again here for Angola. Nurio Fortuna with the little ball into Mateus, but he couldn't quite take it and was under pressure in any case. Gambia now with the fast attack. Jallo is ahead. He's in the box and he's gone for goal, and Jallo's furious with his teammate. Cisse is also berating Ibrahima Colley as well. Well, he had a little look, but decided to go for goal anyway. This was at the far side where Mateus might have had the chance, but very experienced Omar Colley just made sure that he couldn't get settled on the ball. Omar Colley, another who plays his football in Italy. Bastos, the opposing centre-back today, also plays in Serie A at Lazio. Just a little bit weak and easy as Heron Nilsson went down, but the referee decided it was a free kick, and Freddie, as usual, will stand over these set pieces. Well, it's long, but it's straight onto the head of Mbaye. Back in again by Nurio Fortuna and straight over the top of the crossbar from the over-ambitious left back. Nurio Fortuna, who plays in Belgium for Charleroi. Ex-Portuguese under-21 international that made his Angola debut in the first leg against Gambia and keeps his position there on the left side of defence for the second leg here at home. Under hit, but Angola unable to take advantage, and a little bit more frustrations here for Tom Saincliffe. Saincliffe's seen it all in African football. He's been everywhere. The likes of Namibia and Zimbabwe in the south, Ethiopia in the east, and plus Malawi and Togo in the west. Togo, who are 1-1 with Comoros. And their second leg gets underway in Togo. Of course, Togo, the other side, along with Angola, who in this preliminary round have made it to a World Cup finals in the past. Nice ball out, picked up by Nurio Fortuna into Mateus. That wasn't a very good ball from the skipper. And then, I'm not quite sure what happened there. The Gambians looked like they actually tackled each other. He took both of them, did Mateus. That's not often you see that. One player fouling two others at the same time. Wilson with the header. Picked up by Cisse, though, ahead of Nurio Fortuna. Very tall man, Cisse, but technical with it as well. Good ball skills, good hand-eye. Very good at holding the ball up as well for his team. They do tend to loft the ball up towards him quite often. It was a low ball this time in, though, to Cisse, and lays it off. And again, the immediate run, looking to receive the ball back again, which he does now. Can't get it past Nurio Fortuna on the back heel, though. Out it goes from Bastos. Nicely brought down by Ibo Toure, but Geraldo, the attacking winger, coming back and doing a very good full-back job there of dispossessing him. Geraldo now picks it up, and they are backing off and allowing him just to advance at leisure in the end. It's a great ball down the right-hand side. Fabio Brau, though, gets no joy at all out of Omar Colley, and will console himself with the throw-in, which will be taken by Isaac Carrera. Carrera, nice 1-2 with Freddie, and Geraldo as well. Nice play again, and a free kick right on the edge of the box, given away by Gambia. Sona, who was booked in the first leg, says he's innocent. Referee is not quite so sure. Well, it was a lovely bit of play, and it was a bit of a wild challenge, you have to say, from the Gambia midfielder. There wasn't an awful lot of control in that tackle. So then they've already had one free kick in an attacking position in this first half. Now they have a chance to maybe build on that dress rehearsal from about 5-10 minutes ago. Well, Freddie and Geraldo are standing over the ball. Isaac Carrera takes on, and Freddie goes for goal. And it's not quite as close to it as the one that Geraldo took with the left foot earlier. Well, Freddie set up the goal in the first leg for Wilson. He certainly is the creative hub of this Angola attack, but lacking the consistency of setting up goals or indeed scoring himself that would really make him a real #1 fixture for them. Here comes Geraldo, though, playing on the tricks. Gets double-teamed in the end and snuffed out. Here's Show. Well, if you're going to be a defensive midfielder, you might as well have a name that suggests the spectacular. That Show does all of the basic things well. Certainly recovering the ball and just allowing the more creative players to shine around him. Good header there from Sona. Freddie, little layoff for Geraldo. Geraldo is encouraging Matias to make the run down the left-hand side. Freddie, tackled by Sona. And again, it's a free kick. And this is a similar place from where the goal came from in the first leg. Well, we're about half an hour into the game and still 0-0, which means Angola still holding the advantage thanks to that 1-0 victory in the first leg in Gambia. Gambia must score. And even then, if they do, it wouldn't be enough to put them through. So then Freddie and Geraldo, looks like Freddie will take this. Freddie. Well, that was actually even worse than the last one. And gets a few jeers from the crowd after that effort. Two rather wasted free kicks. Freddie plays his club football in Antalyaspor these days, having spent a decade at Belenenses in Portugal. Oh, and Cisse's got away here. Head up. Looking towards Ng on this far side, and Ng goes for the shot. He wants the penalty. Looked to me, though, as Isaac Carrera was turning away from the shot. Long ball forward once again, looking for Ng, the man who came in for Musa Barrow in this attack lineup for Gambia. They've got to go forward, and here comes Fabio Brownell doing just that for Angola. Crunching tackle comes in from Ibrahim Akoli. Well, he had to get that right. Excuse me, it was actually in B. Let's get the name right, because this was a quality piece of defending. Well, Gambia has been excellent so far in the first leg, in the first half of the second leg. He was pretty good in the first leg, to be fair, as well. Well, that was the call for a handball. Well, you've seen them giving with the new laws on handball that are being implied by FIFA now, and I think the Gambia management just having a word with the referee, getting a little bit irate that wasn't given. In by Freddie. Again, it just lacked a little bit of control. A lot of the time in the first leg, we found that as well. A lot of nice play coming forward, and then the final ball was missing. Can they find it again this time, though? And it's just over. In the middle from Freddie Abrao. Good save from Job. Better play from Henry Nilsson. Right into the danger area. And that could have gone anywhere. Combination of Mb and Job. Again, good defending from Mb. Again, gets in front of the ball into the box. Something to chase here for Cisse down that right-hand side. And look at that from the goalkeeper for Angola, Tony Cabasa. Saw the danger straight away. To be fair, I'm not sure anybody was actually with Cisse that far forward. Picked up by Jallo. Still going, the left winger. And in the end, he ran into a bit of a cul-de-sac. Geraldo now brings it away, but Jallo hasn't given up yet and gets the ball back again. Ibo Toure with the ball into the middle. Cisse with the header. And it goes wide, and it's pretty much the first shot, I think, in the second leg for Gambia. Well, Cisse could have had a hat-trick in the first leg, but for various different reasons, including good saves from Tony Cabasa in the Angola goal, he was unable to score even once. Show pushed over by Sona. Ibrahim Somo, who's been in and out of the Gambia side in the last few years. Did play in World Cup qualifying for the 2010 edition. Did Sona. Spent much of his career in Norway and Finland before returning to Kesla back home in 2017, for whom he won the Gambian Cup in that season. Now, though, trying to help Gambia into the group stage of the African zone qualifying for the World Cup. Bigger stage, more at stake. Of course, if they don't play in that group stage, then this is it for the next 4 years in terms of World Cup participation. You can say that for all of the 28 sides in this preliminary round. Here's Freddie now for Angola. Nice little back heel. Nurio Fortuna with the ball in, and Matias has somehow managed to volley that backwards. Well, it would have been a spectacular goal. It was not easy. But in the end, that turns into be a little bit embarrassing. It was a lovely little set-up here from Matias and Nurio Fortuna, but he really did not get hold of that, did the Angola skipper. His last international goals came 10 months ago in Africa Cup of Nations qualifying, when he scored a couple against Burkina Faso. A month after he scored a couple against Mauritania. It's all dried up a little bit since then, as Jallo comes forward for Gambia now. Nice little turnaround, goes for goal himself, even though he had two men in the middle. And Lamine Jallo, who plays Seri B Axon for Salernitana, came back into the side after missing the last game in Africa Cup of Nations qualifying, did Lamine Jallo. Had scored 3 of their 5 goals in qualifying until then. We'll never know just how much they missed him against Algeria in that game. Never really looked like scoring in the first leg, though, against Angola, and free kick goes the way of the host there. Seven and a half minutes to go until half-time, and at the moment it's as we were at kick-off, with Angola with a slight lead at the moment, but enough to put them into the next round. Freddie now again goes on one of those little probing runs, encouraging defenders to just take him down and give free kicks away in dangerous positions. The ever reliable and unspectacular Omar Colley, just doing all the basics well. Fairly unspectacular half, though. Angola, though, of course, have no interest in making it spectacular. Quite happy to just let this chug along to a 0-0 draw. It's Gambia who need to make something happen. Nicely trapped back by Jallo before Freddie managed to nip in there and steal the ball. And Jallo again now. Well, he had a shot a moment ago. This time he just chooses to bring in Ng. Ng goes for the shot, but he was slipping as he took it. Vioa Brow, or rather Show, picks it up. He decides to go long. And it's a great ball as well. Beautifully taken down by Geraldo. And Geraldo's into the box. Geraldo has a chance to shoot and scores! It's double jeopardy for Gambia as they trail by 2-0 now. Angola put a big foot in the next round. Well, this goal absolutely created by the sensational touch that Geraldo produced to bring down that 60-metre ball from Show. And the Al Ali winger here, look at this. What a brilliant piece of control. He took it on the run. And he was into the box before you knew it, had support, didn't need it, took it onto his right foot. He can shoot with either. That's a fabulous goal from Angola. And it means they lead the tie 2-0 on aggregate, right before half-time. Has he got the right mentality? Well, one would say so. And the man whose early career began in Brazil before he was released and headed off to Portugal and then Egypt has continued the good form that he carried on for the Egyptian Giants last season. Well, after all the pretty play that we saw from Angola in the first leg and then through the first part of the second leg, it wasn't quite route one because that was a fabulous pass. That wasn't just a long ball, that was a pass from Show, mate. No doubt about it. And it was beautifully taken advantage of by Geraldo. Out by Nuro Fortuna. It's going to come straight back again, though, but it's offside against Cisse. Well, it's an uphill task now for Gambia. Gambia have only made it into the group stage of qualifying for a World Cup once, and that was before the 2010 edition that took place in South Africa. The first World Cup ever to take place on African soil. Here comes Freddie, though, for Angola. Geraldo, the goal scorer, into Freddie again. He's taking on his man and might get to the line, but it's well tracked back by Dowda and Ngum, and it'll be a corner kick with around about a minute to go plus stoppages. Well, Angola world ranked 122, which is 39 places higher than Gambia. As the ball comes in, it's good job they've got big men in the back for Gambia, because there were Angolan forwards racing in for that, and G has made that go underneath him, and he's given the ball away to Geraldo. Freddie again, Geraldo and Freddie linking up at every opportunity they can. Here goes Geraldo. Here comes Isaac Carrera forward. Now into Harry Nilsson. Freddie. Geraldo outside him inevitably. Well, Gambia here need to get to half-time and then regroup. And then they need to make something happen in the second half. But if they keep on playing like this, it'll suit Angola right the way down to the ground and right the way into the group stage. Wasn't the best shot there from Fabio Abrao, although you can see why he went for goal. It just opened up in front of him. Not quite sure where the central defenders went there. Nobody in the way of the shot at all. Show, beaten by Ng. Then just doing enough to send Ng back the other way. Cisse. More good defending from Angola. And enough to draw the foul as well. And Fabio Abrao, who has been complaining to the referee quite often in this first half at the treatment he's been receiving from the Gambia players. I don't think there was really anything in that. They both went for it with their feet as the referee blows for the half-time whistle. Well, Angola offering up a little prayer, but it's Gambia who need divine intervention at the moment, thanks to Geraldo's goal just before the half-time break that has doubled the home side's lead. After the 1-0 win in the first leg, they're 1-0 up at half-time. We already saw the likes of Egypt, Ethiopia, Equatorial Guinea, Tanzania making it through a couple of days ago, and Liberia as well. And today they will be joined by the likes of Malawi, who just about got a victory 1-0 at the end of their tie with Botswana. Djibouti, who will play Gambia in qualifying for the Africa Cup of Nations group stage qualifying. They also came through after a 2-1 win after a 0-0 second leg with Eswatini, and Zimbabwe coming through in an absolute firecracker of a second leg against Somalia. So Somalia, after their fantastic first ever victory in World Cup qualifying in the first leg, unfortunately for them, don't make it through to the group stage. Here, though, Angola very much in charge of this preliminary round match with Gambia. 2-0 up in front at the moment as Freddie goes for an early sighter inside the first 30 seconds of the second half. Angola are seem to be a nation on the rise again. They dropped down the order, the pecking order, not just in the FIFA rankings, but in the African rankings as well. But reorganisations inside the federation seem to be bearing fruit. And there's a talented bunch of players coming through as well. Angola were disappointed not to make it into the Africa Cup of Nations. They fell right at the last. Another loose little ball through. Geraldo, the goal scorer, trying to feed it through for Nuria Fortuna. It's the furthest forward we've seen the left back, and certainly inside the penalty area in the game. But now under the previous coach, Serdan Vasiljevic, the baton has been passed on to Pedro Gonçalves. He's an interim coach at the moment, but one wonders if he manages to negotiate this hurdle, whether something a little bit more permanent might come through, as Fabio Abrao goes for goal. Caught it well enough, but it was too close to the goalkeeper, Job. Turned in nicely, but Job was very well placed to create the disappointment for the forward. Didn't really see an awful lot from him in the first half. Man who was born in Lisbon in Portugal, but chose to represent Angola. And Jallo has just allowed that to go off his right foot. Perhaps he needed to take that with his left boot. Now then, what will we see from Gambia in this second half? Ibrahim Okoli, who was brought in to give them a bit of spark the same way he did when he came on as a substitute in the first leg, hasn't really shone the way he did in the Independence Stadium last Friday. Nuria Fortuna looking long and not making it over top of the Gambia defender, who was another new man in for the Gambians today, Dauda Ngum. Plays his football in Denmark at FC Roskilde. Forward from Kabasa and rather from Job, and it was picked up now by Colley, Ibrahima Colley that is, for Cisse. Cisse taking on Nuria Fortuna. And in the end, Nuria Fortuna was a little disgusted that that was given as a free kick. Looked pretty shoulder to shoulder to me. Here they are. Well, there is an arm round it, but it's not very much. Big man like Cisse doesn't need to go down quite like that. Just look fairly competitive. I don't like free kicks like that. Colley, though, is going to try and exploit it. Decent ball in. Oh, right to the back post, and they can't get there. Omar Colley, the captain, almost seems stunned that it arrived at his feet. Tipped it off his boot. Didn't get any purchase off it at all, and then couldn't react in time for the follow-up. Well, it was a beautiful delivery from Colley that was completely missed by the Angolan defenders. Maybe it's because it was Fabio Abrao, the centre forward, who was trying to get in there. Did not deal with that at all well. Real chance wasted there by Gambia. Nice little turn by Bojang, another man who came in, one of the 4 changes for the Gambians made by Tom Santif for this second leg. First half, though, for the Gambia didn't look an awful lot different from the first half for them in the home leg last Friday, as 5 minutes ticked by in the second half, and it's still Angola 1, Gambia 0, which means Angola are still 2-0 up on aggregate. We can no longer have extra time now that Angola have scored at home. Little clip off for Ibrahima Colley. Had a couple of decent shots when he came on as a sub in the first leg, but they were both saved by Tony Kabasa. As Gambia came on strong towards the end of the match, in a way they should have done at the beginning. Another probing ball that was well cut out by the excellent Mbaye, with Fabio Abrao trying to make his way between him and Omar Colley. Wilson, man who scored the goal in the first leg. Haven't seen anywhere near as much from him coming forward as we did a few days ago before the weekend. Cisse spreads it out. Better play this. Colley again getting a fair amount of the ball in the start of the second half. Nice little chip over the top, looking for Bojang, but it was well spotted by Freddie, all the way back from his playmaking duties further forward to help out the defenders, and Colley is penalised, much to his frustration. Substitution, Mohamed Baramosi has come on. Mohamed Baramosi, who plays for Rabat, centre forward, and not surprisingly, Tom Santif is looking to bolster his attack. They need to score now twice to go through. Giraldo's kind of lying on the ball there, and the goal scorer has got himself a free kick. Once again, Freddie and Giraldo probably the favourites to take this. It's quite a long way out. And so they take it short to Show. Nicely done, and Gambia have the chance to break, but well spotted by Bastos. Cuts out the danger early. Ibrahima Sona forward into the path of Bojang. Again, the ball is given away, and Angola take it back straight away. Giraldo looking for the ball through. Now there's a real chance for Fabio Abrao. He's air-shotted it. Oh dear. It is not his day. And now Nuria Fortuna has run it over the byline. Oh, a little bit of a smile and a pat on the back for Fabio Abrao, but he must wish he could probably disappear down a hole. Well, we came in a bit late there to the action. He'd already completely missed the volley by the time we saw that. Bastos forward to Giraldo. Freddie. Again, more great, cohesive, simple passing from Angola. Down the line by Isaac Carrera. Oh, here comes Angola again. Matias, oh, it was a heavy touch from the skipper. And now he's given away the free kick for the challenge on Bojang, the right back. Solomon Bojang, who plays his football in Norway, and came on for Richter in the first leg, and then replaced him outright here in the second. Well, all of that for Matias happened because he got the first touch wrong, and then it just went downhill from there. Here's Ibrahima Colley. Up yet again against Nuria Fortuna. Good little battle those two are developing in this second half, with Colley now having seemingly moved into an outright right winger as opposed to the attacking midfielder he was playing in the first 45 minutes. 10 minutes into the second leg, or the second half of the second leg, and Angola still in charge. Bojang. Decent ball in, if they can meet it! Oh, it's a great save! And Kabasa is called into action for the first time in anger in the game. Well, he needed to come up with some important saves in the first leg, and that time had to come up with it again. I think it was the new man on, Massey, who got the header. Indeed it was. Again, they're causing trouble. Set pieces really ought to be where the danger comes from. Ngem with the ball in, too high for everybody. They've got so much height, both in defence and in attack, have the Gambia, that they really should be getting aerial balls into the box at every opportunity. And that would maybe explain why Ibrahim Akoli has been moved out onto the flanks and been told to get that ball into the box. For the likes of Jallo, Cisse and G, and of course now for Bardamosa. Another free kick. Well, if Gambia's threat is in the air, Angola's is definitely on the ground. Geraldo just had Ibu Toure just run straight through the back of him. So then, here he comes. The young superstar replaces the goal scorer in this game. Geraldo takes a well-earned rest, and Zitu Luvumbu comes back on again. He saw him in the first leg. Didn't star that much, the 17-year-old, but the Primero Agosto starlet now gets his chance to shine again as we approach the hour mark. First of all, though, it's out by the opposite substitute, Bardamosi. Another free kick to Angola, given away by Omar Colley. Freddie again taking responsibility. There's nowhere for him to go forward, so in the end he goes back to Bastos and Nuria Fortuna. Lots of high pressing all of a sudden from the Gambian defenders. Show put under pressure by Ngum. Shame we didn't see this kind of intensity pressing forward from Gambia perhaps earlier in the game. Well, that certainly sounded painful for Ibrahim Akoli. I think he's suggesting here that there's an elbow. Well, it wasn't pretty, but I'm not entirely sure he got him on the front of the face. Looked like he hit him on the back. And if that's the case, he's clearly not that hurt. Well, he looks in pain. Gives Tom Saintif a little bit of an opportunity to give a few pointers to his team. That's Ibrahim Asona, who is being talked to at the moment, defensive midfielder. Played 5 out of the 6 matches in African Nations Cup qualifying this year. His only goal came all the way back in 2010 in a 5-1 defeat against Mexico for Ibrahima Sona, man who spent much of his career in Norway and Finland, as we were saying earlier. Quite a few of these men on the pitch have found their way into Scandinavia during their careers. Ball goes back in again. Oh, and off the top of the bar, and again it's Badamosi who's creating the danger. Tony Kabasa not happy. Badamosi really is mixing it up straight away. Big, tall man. Now you could argue perhaps that was dangerous play. Bastos put himself right in the way of that overhead kick. But something is happening at last for Gambia. Back underway, and a little bit of hope for the Gambia in this last half an hour. They need 2 goals. They need to start off by getting 1 though. Freddie has got the ball. Well done by Show to keep it in Angolan possession. They're a much bigger side, our Gambia, but the more technical players seem to be playing for Angola rather than Gambia. Gambia need to get the ball forward quickly. They need to get the ball into the box in the air, as Badamosi is plainly showing since he came on. So then, substitution about to come on then. Well, it's Sona who's coming off there and is being replaced by Sheriff Sinyan, who was one of the men who was dropped from the starting lineup for today's game. He finds himself back on the pitch now in midfield. Nuria Fortuna being taken down by his opposite number, Bojang. Nicely done by Show again. Now Mateus, the skipper. Freddie feeds it out, and Show now. Again, the simple ball. Nuria Fortuna didn't quite catch hold of that with the left foot. Well, Show does an awful lot of things simply, but when he decides to go for the spectacular, he can certainly come up with a killer ball, as he showed for the goal. That wasn't a very good thing, though, by Wilson, and here comes Badamosi again. Chance for Cisse! Back in it! And suddenly it's the away supporters that have something to cheer. They had to score 2 goals anyway, really, in this second leg. They made it more difficult for themselves when they allowed Angola to go ahead 2-0. But don't forget that 2-2 would still send them through on the away goals. And Badamosi again, he has proved the game changer, causing havoc in the box. And Cisse, who was causing havoc in the first half of the first leg, is the man to benefit from his teammates' mayhem in this one. could have had a hat-trick in the first leg, could Hassan Sine, the FC Zurich man. He's finally gone on the score sheet here in the second. 1-1 in the second leg, but suddenly Angola's place in the group stage no longer looks quite so sure. We are set for a cracking last 20 minutes here at the 11th of November Stadium in Luanda. Now then, how will Angola respond to that? It's the first time really that they've been put under real pressure by the Gambia. Fabio Abreu goes down, and something now for the Angolan coach Pedro Gonçalves to contemplate. What does he do? Does he go defensive? Or do they keep trying to do what they did? They need to keep the ball away though from Bardamosi, who is proving to be unplayable at the moment. Show is looking around for somebody to pass to and plays it short. Henriksen now back in again from Isaac Carrera, and a chance for Angola to go 2 ahead again. And finally Fabio Abreu gets his moment of glory. And surely this time Angola claim their place in the group stage. What an amazing 2 minutes. Just when Gambia look back in it, suddenly they fall apart at the back. And Fabio Abreu, who had that horrible miss-kick volley about 15 minutes ago, comes up with the goal that could well put Angola into the group stage of African qualifying for the World Cup. Kept his feet beautifully, went round the goalkeeper, and sent the home side into delirium. Well, he made his World Cup debut against Gambia in the first leg. Didn't figure that highly, but his name will be remembered now after the second. And the man who spent some time in English non-league football before heading off to Portugal in 2012 suddenly has put his name on the world stage again. Well, that's going to be a shocker for Gambia. What do they do now? Instead of needing 1 goal now, they need 2 more. Well, it might not be as full as they get for a lot of the club games inside this stadium, but there's an awful lot of noise inside the 11th of November stadium at the moment. Angola leading by 3-1 on aggregate with 20 minutes to go. The Gambia looking like they are destined for another preliminary round exit. And all of the mayhem, all of the great play, and the game-changing antics of Bardamosi up front may come to naught, unless they can turn things around for a second time. .20 minutes to go. Angola 2, Gambia 1, but 3-1 on aggregate. Good tackle by Isaac Carrera, but it needs the clearance from Bastos as well to find Freddie, who wraps things up rather neatly. Here he is again, taking on Ngum and being fouled by him, and that just allows the clock to tick by a few more seconds. so difficult to get the ball off. Yano is about to come on. Another man from Petro Atletico, centre forward. Was a late substitute for Geraldo in the first leg, but he's going to be a substitute for the captain, Matthias, in the second. Captain has just drifted out of the game, really, somewhat in the second half. It's not surprising, I think, that Gonçalves is giving his skipper a rest. Done a lot of running, but others have taken the glory today. And the man who was in the 2006 World Cup as a youngster will be looking like he's going to be leading through his team into the group stage of qualifying for the 2022 edition. As Cisse and Bardamosi yet again trying to combine up front for the Gambia. Cisse again picks it up and gets the ball across, and it was only a metre wide of the post. Well, I think he was almost forced into taking the shot there because of the heavy first touch. Now, the challenge coming in from Freddie made him hurry up. And he was never quite in control of it, but at the same time, Tony Cabasa wasn't entirely sure that was going the other side of the post. Angola, though, remain 3-1 in front on aggregate. Still enough time here for the Gambia, with 17.5 minutes to go. Tom Saintfiet trying to not look nervous or anxious, or a combination of the two. And B can't do anything more than just send it into touch for an Angolan throw. Give it away, and Yano gets his first touch. He's coming on as a substitute for Angola. Headed out by Mb. Good tackle. Comes in from Herren Nilsson. Now Freddie running away from Nguyen. Freddie goes for the shot and it's off the post. Well, if anyone deserves a goal, it's Freddie. Terrific in both legs. Always running at defenders. That time, instead of taking him down, he managed to get the shot away. And it was almost the right side of the post. To be fair, if it had been the other side, I think the goalkeeper, Joe, would probably have got fingertips to it. A quarter of an hour to go here in Luanda. And Angola, having allowed the Gambia to come back into it, have just stretched away from them again. The Gambia needing 2 goals inside the last quarter of an hour to rescue their World Cup ambitions. And at the moment, Angola just look like they've begun to figure out how to stop Bardamose getting the ball. However, giving away free kicks and allowing them to bang it back up front again is not the way to do it. Barnamosi can't get near the ball this time, though. And Yano makes the tackle on Ibrahima Kohli. Yet again, they can come out. Here comes Fabio Abrao, the goal-scoring hero, finally, in this second leg, spreading it out wide. And the tackle comes in, though. From the Gambian substitute. Boubacar Jobe. Here's Yano for Angola again, though. Feeds it forward to Show. Nice little ball over from the midfielder. Finds now Freddie. Freddie trying to turn. Show picks it up again. Good holding off of the ball. Feeds it back out again. This is a good move. Owen. I'm not quite sure what happened to Show there. He just backed away from the ball and allowed Gambia to take it. That'll be a free kick. Given up by Yano. Another of this Petro Atletico clan for Angola. There's a very good domestic base to this Angolan national side. Although a number of them play abroad, there are still quite a few who play at home as well. From Petro Atletico and indeed from Primeiro Agosto, the two top sides in the Angolan league. Cisse goes down, and well, the Cisse did the back heel, and it was Kohli who went down, but the referee happy that there was no infringement. Here's Fabio Abrao, just happy to waste a bit of time, and he's put the ball out. Well, it looks like good sportsmanship, but of course it allows the clock to keep ticking, and generally the referees don't add on everything of the time that gets wasted. It's always the gamble when you do stuff like that. And Gambia will give the ball back. Well, I like that. They didn't kick the ball back to the goalkeeper. They've just kicked it off into touch nearby. So it's more or less where Angola had the ball when they put the ball out. Nurio Fortuna looks forward with the long throw. Fabio Abrao collects. Unfortunately, it goes out, and it'll be a Gambia throw, which will be taken this time by Bojang. Cisse gets to the header. Sheriff Shinyan, haven't seen an awful lot from him since he came on 5 minutes ago. And Ngum, under pressure, gets the ball away well, though, and refines Bojang. Better play this from Gambia. Big men wander into the penalty area once more, but it's nowhere near them this time. Headed out by Show. Freddie ties and Ngum up in knots. And then also the referee, just for good measure. Oh, and he's put the ball back, and it needs a good clearance from Bastos. Freddie there just getting a little too big for his boots. Fabio Abrao races off, but Mb accompanies him and gets it back to the goalkeeper, Jobe, who looks long. And that's gone out on the halfway line, and the goalkeeper shakes his head rather disappointedly. Manu Jobu was the goalkeeper for both the World Cup qualifying campaigns in 2014 and 2018. And it looks as though his tenure in this latest World Cup campaign is going to be rather short-lived, with Gambia heading for exit at the first hurdle. Dauda Ngum gets a yellow card. Game generally, though, has been played in some good spirit. There was a couple of yellow cards in the first half, but then it just stayed competitive without going crazy. First leg in Gambia ended with riot police being called into the stadium. There was a fear that they might have problems. Now then, here comes Zito. Luvumbu finds over to Yano. Freddie thought about the first time shot, then took it down instead. Still got it now. The diminutive playmaker tries to take on 2 or 3 Gambia men, and in the end is headed off by Ibu Toure. Desperate to get his goal. He's the creative hub of everything they put together. As much as anything, he keeps possession as well. most of the time. 10 minutes to go. Angola 2, Gambia 1. Ball across the middle, but nobody was there. Flat-footed from Fabio Abrao and Zito Luvumbu, who were both on the penalty spot with the ball flashing inside the 6-yard box. Nobody committing to that ball in from Isaac Carrera. Cisse has finally got it under his feet. Wilson did a good job there, though. Here comes Colley. Sinyan. Oh, they are pushing out well, though. Finally, the ball comes back in, looking for Cisse, but it's Wilson's head that meets it instead. Hence it straight back from where it came. Throw in to the Gambia, which Ibu Toure will line up and try to turn this throw in into a cross. Here it comes, and it's again met by Sinyan, but it was a long way out and he couldn't get the power on the header. Nevertheless, it's another save that had to be made by Tony Kabasa, although it was more of a catch than a save. Heading into the last part of the game, the Gambia really are now losing control of this World Cup qualifier. They were right in it at 2-1. Needed just one more goal, but their lack of concentration at the back, and Fabio Abrao manages to get inside the 6-yard box, dribble past a couple of players and the goalkeeper. And suddenly Angola sitting on a much healthier lead. Once again, 2-goal advantage. That should be far too close to the goalkeeper. And Kabasa falls on it gratefully. And then just has a little look around. Lets a few more seconds tick off the clock. Again, it's that man up front, though, Badamosi, who is creating the chances, creating the problems. But unfortunately, just when they were right back in it, they got mixed up at the back, and Fabio Abrao made them pay. Nuro Fortuna with the important header out. Freddie from Show. It's got Luvumbu outside him. The 17-year-old goes the other way and leaves a Gambia player for dead, and the home crowd love that. He's given the ball away now, though. Free kick to Gambia in a dangerous area. Show just pulling back his man. Ibu Toure, the fullback, seems quite keen on taking this one. They need a goal to go in now, really, if they're to give themselves a chance of getting another before the end of the game. It's a very small wall in front of them. Freddie is the tallest man in it, and that has gone well over. Well, they went for goal. I'm not entirely sure why. With those big men in the middle for the Gambia, surely you've got to get the cross in and let one of them head it in. Angola will be very happy with shooting like that from their visitors. Five minutes to go then. Angola edging their way towards the African World Cup qualifying zone. Angola on the attack again, the crowd rise, and Luvumbu takes it into space on the left-hand side. The youngster looking up. There's not many people in the middle, though. One of them was Yano. And now Freddie! Well, in the end, it goes past the post. And it wasn't very close either, but it was spectacular. Mabalulu is about to come on for Angola, with Fabio Abrao taking his bow and leaving the pitch. So then both goal scorers for Angola now sitting back on the substitutes bench. Group stage won't start until the new year. Between now and then we'll start the qualifying campaigns for the next Africa Cup of Nations. Again, Angola pushing forward. New man on. Mabalulu penalised. Time running out for Gambia. Just over 2 minutes to go. And Freddie again has got the ball back again from Ibrahim Akoli and has gone through his legs as well. Lovely piece of skill there from the Angola playmaker. Angola lost their last 2 home games in the African Nations Championship to Mali and Eswatini. Last time they won was in a friendly 2-0 against Guinea-Bissau. Wilson far from happy at being penalised by the referee, and things just beginning to boil over slightly. Hassan Cisse pushing over Show, although I don't think Show made much of an effort to stay on his feet. Well, I have to say, I have a little bit of sympathy for Wilson there. For me, it looked as though the Gambian just lost his feet. Nevertheless, Ibu Toure has a chance here, and you get the feeling that this is the last chance saloon now, very much for the Gambia. They must score now from this attack, and then they still have to rely on there being a few minutes added on by the referee so that they can find another. Toure then puts it in, looking to the back post, and it's well taken by Kabasa, and you've got to think that's got to be it, really. Well, they're celebrating inside the 11th of November stadium. They think they've done it. And with 30 seconds to go, we now wait to see how many minutes have been added on. Mabalulu now given enough turn to turn and run. Luvumbu! Crucial tackle at the end to deny the excellent Isaac Carrera, who somehow found himself in the centre forward position all the way from his normal route of a fullback. Freddie just forced to track back and pick up that ball, but feeds a nice ball down the line to find Zitu. Luvumbu back in again to Nuria Fortuna, but he can't find the cross on that occasion. Into injury time then. Luvumbu again heading towards the byline, into the box as well. And the 17-year-old not above, criticising his teammates for not being in the right position to take his pass. He was having a go at Yano, who instead of coming towards him towards the near post, had dropped back towards the far post, but it will be a corner. It's going to be a great moment, this, for the Angola coach, Pedro Gonçalves. Brought in at the last moment. He hasn't had an awful lot of time to work with his charges. Freddie. Little lofted ball in. Yano volley back across. There's no one there. Freddie again, happy to allow the ball to go out. More time, ticks off. This time, though, he's given the ball away, but he's gone back into the corner. Done quite well. Here's Colley. He gives the ball away. He's well tackled by Nurio Fortuna, although the fullback is actually penalised for a foul. It's a long ball forward, but again, it's met by Wilson. And now finds Freddie. Freddie forward, surely that's offside against Yano. Long way offside. Time running out for Tom Santeef as his side look destined toward the exit door. Referee brings that latest Gambia attack to a halt. Well, he seems happy. He's allowed the game to flow as the referee, to be fair on him. Nicely taken down by Yano. Into Show, who is an excellent game again in defensive midfield. Keeping it nice and simple, and of course coming up with that magnificent aerial ball that saw Geraldo put Angola in front, and indeed Angola qualify for the group stage of the African zone of World Cup qualifying. Well, it was Geraldo's goal in the first half that really made things safe. Gambia came back though with Cisse in the second half, but 2 minutes later Fabio Abrao made it 3-1 on aggregate, and Gambia looked punched in the stomach after that. They never really came back. Bardamose made a big difference after he came on as a substitute, but in the end they just weren't quite good enough, and